Adar marks the Hilula of a great Syrian rabbi. His name was Harav Yosef Yedid Halevi. Zecher Tzadik Libracha. He was born in English year 1867 and passed away on the 8th of March in English year 1930. He was about 63 years of age. He would become the head of a Jewish court of the Halevi community in Jerusalem, was one of the great rabbis of Jerusalem and of his time in of itself. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the great Chacham's life. Now, he was born in Halab, Aram Tzova, in Syria. At that point in time, there was a very large Jewish Torah community in Syria, and it was part of the Ottoman Empire. He actually came from great rabbinic auspices. His father's name was Rab Mordechai, and he himself was an educator, teaching children Torah in of itself. And I believe he would actually help his father while he was at a young age, while he was learning with his father, within regards to assisting, within regards to educating the children inside the community over there, and would learn from him a great deal in of itself. And it's actually interesting. There was tough times at that point in time financially in Syria for many, many people in the community, and so people had to manage with what they had at that stage in time, and the city was very much well supported by other people in the city. And he would get married. His wife's name was Rabbanit Leah Ziat Shravati, I believe, and he would learn afterwards under the auspices of Rav Avram Chaim Adas, another great rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before. He would go on to become one of the great Kabbalists of Jerusalem, part of the Bet Din, the Jewish court over there, head Bet Din, I believe, and founder of the Yeshivat Mukobalim, Yeshivot, Rechovot, Hanahar in Jerusalem, respectively. Come with the year 1889, he would actually make Aliyah to Eretz Israel. I believe he would go with his family and his parents also, and they would settle in Tzfat in Israel, and he would learn in the synagogue of Rabbi Yosef Kara, the famous synagogue over there. I believe he was quite close to the Rebaz, another great rabbi, Rabbi Yaakov David Vilovsky, who happened to be a great rabbi at that point in time and would very much delve into learning Torah. I think in Tzfat he would print his first book in of itself, was actually printed, I think, in the year 1910. That was actually printed in Jerusalem, called the Torah Chacham, which we're going to brush on anyway. But before that, we're going back to Tzfat. In Tzfat, he would print actually part of the book, which actually be really authored at that point in time. He would work as a Dayan, along with Rabbi Yishmael ben Pinchas HaKohen and Rav Shlomo Raphael Hakim, two great rabbis. Rav Yishmael happens to be himself a famous Shadash to Cheder Rabbanan of Tzfat, head of a Jewish court, and a chief rabbi in Tira in Turkey, and various different positions, high positions he had in Tzfat. And then after 1910, as we said before, he's printing the book, the Torah Chacham. I think through the advice of his uncle, Rav Yom Tov Yedid Halevi, who also was a great rabbi of his time, a famous Kabbalist, and one of the great rabbis of Aram Tzova, he would advise him to move to Jerusalem with his family and would actually become part of the community, the Bukharian community, take on various different roles to become a Dayan over there and be part of the Jewish court over there, along with Rabbi Abraham Aminov and Rabbi Yochanan Shmachayov, I believe, really great rabbis at that point in time. And in the Bukharian neighborhood, I think he would have apartments over there. And there was a large library over there, I think through the Gvir, Pinchas Abrahamov, of many, many great famous Torah books in of itself. Now, he would become the head of the Jewish court, Bet Din, for the Halevi community that was in Jerusalem, I think along with Rabbi Avraham Chaim Ades, and with his student, Rav Raphael Shlomo Laniado, another great rabbi spoken about before. Rav Laniado himself was a famous Kabbalist and the Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivat Porat Yosef and Yeshivat Ohel Moed, and the author of great Torah books, who we've spoken about on various occasions before. He would delve within regards to Torah and Kabbalah, and I believe he was, let's just say, an advocate for encouraging people that are going to learn Kabbalah to be very proficient within regards to the whole of Shas and all the poskim in of itself. Now, sadly, I believe a few of his children passed away when he was living in Tzfat at a young age. However, he would have a great son, named Rav Shlomo, who would live a long life, Baruch Hashem. At the end, he was close with another famous rabbi, Rabbi Shlomo Eliezer Al-Fandari, who was known as the Saba Kadisha, very famous rabbi of his time. He passed away himself in the year 1930, the same year as Rab Yosef Yedid Halevi would pass away, but he was very, very great rabbi, Rav Al-Fandari was, and we actually spoke about him in a separate video about a year ago or something. And I think at that point in time, there was a number of Rabbanim, I think especially from Syria, if I'm not mistaken, that would actually sign an opposition to teaching Hebrew in Torah schools at that point in time, claiming that there'll be a formalization of the language among Torah students, and it could lead, the worry was at that point in time, to distributing, let's just say, reading materials in language that were against, let's say, against Torah and Judaism in of itself at that stage in time. He would write various different, speak about it in maybe one of his books, if I'm not mistaken. Now, he passed away on the 8th Adar in the year 1930, March 8th, and he was buried in Har Zaytim, was reported over. He suffered from a short illness, I think, beforehand, suffered from illness. And I believe, so he was buried in Mount of Olives burial plot. And it was reported over that his wife, Rabbi passed away on Yudchet Elul, the 18th of Elul, in the Hebrew year, Heitaf Reish Tzadik Zayin. It was reported over. Now, it's interesting. I think his son, Rav Shlomo Yedid, who was a very, very great rabbi, also would print some of his father's books after he passed away. And his daughter, Rabbi Sarah, married another famous rabbi who we've spoken maybe about before, Rabbi Naim Pinto, and would then go on to live in Argentina. It was reported over. He had many great Talmidim, including Rav Ezra Atiyah, who would later on become Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivat Porat Yosef. Rav Yaakov Ades, one of the great Dayanim of Israel. Rav Yaakov Katzin, who will become head rabbi of, later on become a great American Syrian rabbi. Rav Rafael Shlomo Laniado will be Rav David Harari Raful, another great rabbi we was talking about. Rav Ari Chaimov was another great rabbi, and Rav Simcha Chaimov, very great students he had. And among the great Torah books that he wrote include the Birkat Yosef, which was, let's say, the various laws within regards to blessings. It was the first chelek was printed in Jerusalem in Hey Taf Reish Pei Hey. Birkat Yosef, which was also the second, which was printed, I believe, 2 years later. And there was also, I think, another book of the Birkat Yosef was printed in Rishon LeZion at a later stage in Hey Tafshin Lamed Aleph. The Vayechi Yosef, which was Hilchot, the laws with regards to Gittin and various different other laws, printed in Jerusalem. The Yemei Yosef, which was a Shut, a Sheilot and Shuvot, divided into 4 Chalakim on the Code of Jewish Law, printed in Jerusalem. And Birkot Chacham, and the Torah Chacham, and the Mei Yosef Batra, which was a Shilot and Shuvot, divided up into 4 Chalakim in of itself. And Sifrei, and there was more great books in of itself. He passed away on the 8th of Adar. Don't forget to light candles in his memory. Friends, we are a community here. We're learning about the great rabbis of yesteryear. If you happen to be related to any of the great chachamim we are speaking about, please send me an email or comment. I'd love to hear more. Please subscribe to the channel and share the videos with other people that might be interested in watching these videos. Wishing you blessings from Israel and a Shabbat Shalom, because I'm recording this just before Parashat Tetzaveh here in Bet Shemesh. Take care, everyone, and be well.